Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we're going to be talking about where to start with Magic the Gathering as a new player in 2025. Obviously, with Foundations coming out and so much new Magic stuff coming, whether it's, new sets or just amazing new products and stuff. There's a lot of people starting the game, which is great. I absolutely love the fact that, Magic is just growing and growing. It is really, really cool. So, there's people out there asking, where do I start? What do I do? What do I buy? Where do I play? So we're going to go through all of that kind of stuff for you. So this is not going to be a be-all and end-all guide. This is all my opinion, of course. And if you have any other ideas, let me know, whether you're a new player who's starting and, I started this way, maybe you guys should do this or whatever. Let us know that as well. And I'm going to be going through starting Magic as well as a little bit about the most popular format because, I think it's important to talk about how people are playing Magic or what format they're doing, because that is essentially the way that you're going to be able to play with other people mostly. There is, other formats. We're going to talk a little bit about those, but Commander is the most popular one, and that's the way that most people are playing the game lately, despite the fact that, Wizards is trying to get other people to play more like Standard and stuff like that, other formats, and we'll see how that ends up going. So, what is Magic? This is a collectible card game. You're going to get boosters, you're going to open them, you're going to get cards, you're going to build decks, all that kind of really awesome stuff. And there is a heap of different themes, right? So you've got some themes from cowboys to, there's a space set coming up. We've got a fantasy set. We've got, there's heaps of fantasy sets, right? This is a fantastical world. There is just so many different themes that everyone can find something that they love. There is strategic gameplay. You're going to be making creatures. You're going to be casting spells, you're going to be using abilities and stuff. There's just so much that is just, that you can customize the way you play in just a million different ways, endless variety. There's a community all around the world, and there's just so many different formats that you can play the way you want and the way other people are playing. It's just going to be, it's just so great. I love it. So your step zero here is subscribing to me. I am, one of the YouTubers that breaks the news the fastest. As soon as, new info is coming out, I'm posting videos about it, I'm covering it. And, generally we're relatively very positive here, talking about, just amazing stuff. So just make sure you subscribe, make sure, share this video around. If you've got other people who are playing, share the video to them. If, you're on a Facebook page with people playing Magic, feel free to share the video there too and stuff. So the best way, in my opinion, to start off with is this beginner box. This is a new box that came out. I've got one sitting over there to start playing with my wife, who's just started playing. And this is a great way for new players to start off with. So it's going to have everything within the box to learn how to play, step you through your first few games, and then, build decks with these jumpstart packs where you just take two of them, shuffle them together, and you're ready to play. There is 200 cards plus, I think, in there. I think it might just be 200 cards. Guides on how to play, playmats to help you learn, step-to-step guides. It's just really, really amazing. So this is built for two players to learn to play together, or you to help teach someone to play, or learn from someone who's more experienced. You can just learn, even if you go down to your local game store, your LGS with this, they can use it to help you learn and stuff, just kind of walk you through your first few games. And the tutorial is just really, really great in it. It's amazing. And yeah, as the box says, the best way to learn to play, I think that is very accurate. I don't think that's kind of, hyping it up too much. And this is what it comes with. So this is the playmat that it comes with. You get some tokens, you get a counter dice stuff, and these little decks, guides and stuff to go alongside it. So, just as I said, everything you learn to play and learn to be able to, verse someone else, and just gets you into the game straight away. And if you get stuck, the official Magic the Gathering YouTube page actually has a learn to play guide as well. They've got a playlist that goes through each step. So you're not even just having to have one big video where you need to kind of figure out where you need to go in it. It actually steps you through. So this is the combat step. This is playing a card. This is this and stuff. So it just kind of helps you get started. There's also open houses. So this is at your LGS. If they're a part of the Wizards Play Network, so that's like a network of a whole bunch of stores that officially get to work with Wizards and stuff. They're going to be running 2 events for new players with the new Foundation set that just came out. So this is a 2-part series. There's going to be videos to go alongside it that are played with each of them. And part 1 is going to take you through how to play and learning Magic and using the beginner box or the welcome decks to kind of learn. And then part 2 is actually deck building, where you get to play the limited format, which is where you're going to open a whole bunch of a whole bunch of packs, and then you build a deck in store to verse other people who do the same. And it's really fun, a really great way to play, and it helps you learn how to do that format and learn how to deck build and everything in a really easy kind of work together way. Yeah, and as I said, just go down to your LGS. They're going to be generally insanely welcoming for new players. Shout out to Darcy, Ian, Ben, Dalton at my LGS here in Bendigo at Guff. They are all amazing and they will easily help you. They are, some of the most helpful and great people to introduce you to the game you can find at your LGS. And they will have open house events, which is essentially, once per set release. I think it's up to maybe twice per set release sometimes. They will have an event where, if you are new to the game, you can come in, you can learn, introduce yourself, and introduce yourself to Magic as well. And they also have welcome decks. So these are essentially 30-card decks that are designed for new players to learn to use whenever you go to an open house, or if you just walk into your LGS and say, hey, I want to learn to play Magic. They will give you one of these if they've got them still, and you're going to be able to learn to play free of charge. And yeah, they're just really, really great. So these have been out for a little bit now since not the last set that came out, like the most recent one, the one before that. But they should still have heaps of them. I've got one sitting around here somewhere, right here. And yeah, they just come with 2 30-card decks that they can learn to teach you to play, and you get to keep them too. So the other thing that you can do is Magic Arena. So this is an amazing way to learn to play digitally, especially if you struggle to find someone to play with against in person, or you're a bit nervous, or you want to have a little bit of a grasp on the basics before you do it. This is found on Steam, iOS, or Android, and it's just a digital version of Magic. There's heaps of free content that they're going to give you out the bat to start with. They're going to just give you just a huge amount of stuff. There's various challenges to kind of help you learn a bit as well, take you through all the different card types, different starter decks, etc. So as I said, this is it here. It's a very beautiful digital format that really helps you kind of learn to play, and really kind of highlights what you can play and stuff as well. So like in your hand, it'll only highlight cards that you can play at the time. So it kind of helps you learn to play that way. And yeah, as I said, challenges. So this is you playing as a white deck, so a white colored deck, and then you're going to play against all of the other colors to learn not just how white plays, but how white plays against like red and stuff. So, and then there's also the starter deck duel that you can get, where you get starter decks and then you're going to verse other people who have starter decks, and learn to kind of play with whatever the starter decks are too. You've also got the starter kit. So this is another way to learn to play. They come with 2 different 60-card decks that are pre-built, and a play guide booklet that helps you learn to play. They come in a variety of different flavors. So this one here is the Bloomburrow one, which is like a Wizards in-universe set that's based around like, a whole bunch of critters that are, essentially the people on this plane and stuff. Or there's, a Lord of the Rings one, if you love Lord of the Rings, or Assassin's Creed as well. The more current ones that you're going to be able to find. Now, I don't think these are quite as good to learn to play the game as the beginner box nowadays, but they are still a great way to learn to play, and a great next step after the beginner box if you want. And then also, if you do get the beginner box, I think that the starter collection is a great kind of starter collection. There's a huge amount of cards in here that will help you learn to play decks and give you a whole bunch of great goodies to kind of go alongside it. And it's just a great way to start off your beginner's collection. You can also go watch gameplay. Now, I don't have a huge amount of gameplay on my channel yet. We're going to be looking to do that coming up soon, hopefully. But there are a million different YouTubers out there that do a million different varieties of MTG gameplay. You can go to Twitch, you can join some streams, you can go to YouTube. Generally, the Magic the Gathering community is very helpful and will help answer any questions that you've got. Now, I do want to make a note on Universes Beyond, because I think that's an important thing to cover, because that's going to bring a lot of people into the game. Like, who knows? Maybe you're here because of it. So this is a relatively new thing from Magic. The last couple years, they're essentially like crossovers where they're going to create Magic the Gathering cards for various different IPs. These are really, really great. They capture the flavor of these characters really well. Like, you've got the 10th Doctor here. He's setting up plans in the future. He's doing stuff with time travel. Lots of really cool stuff there. And, there's a whole bunch of different things that they've done crossovers with. You got Doctor Who, Fallout, Lord of the Rings, Assassin's Creed. There's Spider-Man coming up and stuff. There is a little bit of controversy around it because people don't like it so much as mixing their kind of, the IPs in with Magic. I am personally not a detractor from it. I love it. I think it's really cool, but I completely understand where they're coming from. Now, depending on the set, they are going to be only legal within certain formats. However, the ones that are going forward released will be legal in all formats, or at least most formats. So just kind of keep that in mind, that previous ones are going to be more limited. However, all of them can be played within Commander, which is what I cover generally. Now, what is Commander? So this is the most popular format in Magic. Very, very, without a doubt. So this is going to be 4-player games. You're going to have a deck of 99 cards plus your legendary, so 100 cards total. Or you could have 2, and then you've got a deck of, 98 cards. You're going to start with 40 life, and you can only have one of each card, besides basic lands, within your deck, unless it's specified otherwise. There are some cards that are like, you can have any number of these. You can have any number of those. But most of the time, you will have one of each card. Though your commander is essentially like the hero of your deck. And usually you kind of build it around it, or it works really well within your deck. It's either going to be like a big payoff for what your deck's doing, or helps enable the rest of your deck, or, there's various different ways you can include your commander. Now, you can play your commander at any time, so it's like a separate kind of card that you can play at any time and bring out, and it's really, really cool. Like, I love the idea of you've got your commander that's leading your deck to do some really cool stuff. Now, as I said, without a doubt, this is Magic's most popular format, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. However, if you throw yourself directly into Commander, you're really throwing yourself into the deep end. So I'd say get a feeling for the rules, whether it's from the beginner box, whether it's from, Magic Arena, whatever, beforehand, before you kind of get started with it. So why Commander? Why is Commander the most popular format? So it's a really nice, casual format that's really open to talking and having fun. It's 4-player game, so you can get more players involved. The cards never rotate out, so you can almost use all of them. And it's supported by Wizards, who they create official pre-constructed decks. So you can go down to, your local game store and pick up one of these decks and just jump straight into it. It's relatively cheap to make decks as well. There's some decks that are going to be really expensive, but you can smash out a deck for $25, $15 if you want, and it's not going to be the best of decks, but you can still play it, and it's going to be relatively fun. The singleton rules as well mean that you don't need to run 4 times of each super duper expensive card. There's cards at the moment that are like $150+, and this way you only need to run one of them. And because it is 4 players, it allows slower or more powerful decks to get off the ground and start up. And there's lots of viable decks and strategies across the board where you can really kind of bring in anything. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why 4 players? Can you play Commander with less than 4? Of course you can. However, it's going to be less balanced. Some decks are going to destroy in a 1v1 while not being quite as powerful in, a 4-player game. Generally, 4 players is going to be best, then 3, then 2. There's less removal to answer people's threats if you are just in a 1v1, and some decks do need time to get online, while others are just going to be super aggressive and just kind of steamroll out if there's only one person, because of the fact that, they don't have to try and focus on all 3 people. It's just one, and they can just narrow it down. Now, if, you 100% will only ever be 2 players, you don't want to go out to your LGS, or you don't have an LGS near you, or, you just want to play it with your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. There is a separate format called Dual Commander, which does have different bans, and decks for it will be quite different and more balanced around that kind of 1v1. So Precons. I wanted to talk about this as well because this is a great way to start getting into Commander. These are pre-constructed decks that are created by Wizards and released to the stores for people to buy. Generally, each set is going to release with 4 new ones, and they will be themed around the set that just released or consist of a mix of new and reprinted cards. Usually they got 10 to 15 kind of new cards in each one. For example, for the previous Outlaws of Thunder Junction was a cowboy desert kind of set. You had a gunslinger, which is this one here, which is a spellslinger deck. You had a thief based deck, one that's based around deserts and stuff, and then one that's based around outlaws. So, they're all kind of themed around whatever the set is. These are generally going to be a great way to jump into the game and learn Commander. Just make sure that your pod knows that you are playing a precon because they aren't the strongest of decks. However, you can easily upgrade them to be stronger and better and stuff down the line. And generally I do a, way for you guys to be able to do that, a guide on how to do that here. So some examples here, as I said, the Gunslinger, Spellslinger one here. We've got one here from Murders at Karlov Manor, which was a detective-based set trying to figure out who the murderer was and stuff, which was this one's based around clues and drawing cards and detectives and stuff. And then we had one from Bloomburrow, which is based around a crane that makes offspring, which is essentially they make copies of themselves, kind of like making babies. So then, after you start with Commander and stuff, there's also going to be usually a Commander night at each store. Mine is Friday. If you're nervous, try not to be. Generally, everyone is very accepting and patient with newer players. I found that was absolutely amazing. I am I might seem confident in my videos, but in reality, I have pretty bad social anxiety, and these guys were amazing for that. Just go there, talk to the person running it and stuff, and they can help you find a good people to kind of match up with, and try and just be there on time as well, because if you're late, everyone might already be paired off into groups of 4 and stuff, so you may miss out on being able to play that night. Commander is also available on the Magic Online, which is another Magic the Gathering PC app, and it might be coming to Arena soon. It has nearly every card released, and also looks like it was made in the early 2000s, which it was, which is a good thing for some people, a detractor for other people. There is an online economy on it that mimics kind of the paper one, so you can trade cards, you need to buy cards and such if you want to be able to keep them. Plus, I am an official Magic Online content creator for when I start getting more time to make more content next year. As well as, we do some giveaways here for some online points for it and stuff. There is other formats, obviously, besides Commander. It just happens to be the biggest one. So we've got a rotating format for Standard. Standard is the one that Wizards is really kind of pushing. So that is rotating formats. So the last 3 years of sets is available. 60 card decks, plus you can have 4 of each card in the deck. You've got Modern, which is all regular core sets and expansions since a certain point. So that's July 2003 legal. And they do make straight to Modern sets. So most recently did a Modern Horizons, which means that set is specifically for Modern, or you can use that in Commander and stuff, but they're not usable within Standard. You've got Limited, which I talked about briefly before, where, you're opening packs up and building a deck from those packs, or, Draft, where you're opening packs up, taking one, passing it to the person next to you and drafting that way. Also Pioneer, which is, kind of like Modern, but not as far back. We've got Pauper, which is only common cards are legal, which is really interesting because then you're building decks from these cards that are relatively cheap to get, except that, you've got just really interesting cards that people pull out that are quite strong considering that they're commons. We've got Pauper Commander as well, which is Commander except with commons, and you've got potentially a different legendary. Instead of a legendary, you could use an uncommon creature as your commander, and there's many more. These are just the most popular kind of formats. So there's also pre-release, which is when essentially a new set comes out. There's going to be a pre-release. You'll get a pre-release kit. You get to build a deck from it. It's a great way to learn the set, and great to get some promos and meet some new people. Now, pre-release is kind of throwing yourself into the deep end as you need to build a deck, but it's also super fun. And if you have help, it's not an awful way to kind of learn the game. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know down below. Apologies if you could hear my son in the background. He's a bit of a grump today. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. Again, make sure you subscribe. Catch you later.